Mr. President, I'm proud to begin a series of speakers and leading off this block of colleagues who are going to talk about an issue that is so much on our minds these days. And actually, healthcare is always on our minds. There's a saying, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And we are all touched at one point or another in our lives by a healthcare challenge, which is a euphemism for some kind of sickness or illness or condition, whether it's ourselves or someone in our family, and inevitably at some point in our lives, ourselves as the victims of a healthcare crisis. It's only a question of when. And so the reason that we have healthcare insurance is because it's only a question of when. We or someone in our family will be struck by an illness that is catastrophic. It is catastrophic in the pain and suffering, the emotional turmoil it can cause, and it's also catastrophic for so many people in the financial impact and sometimes ruin it portends. That is the reason that healthcare costs are the major cause, the predominant cause of bankruptcy in this country. Crushing medical debt is not only crippling to those individuals financially whom it impacts, but to our entire economy. It is a vulnerability to all of us. And that's also why we have insurance, because we know that at one point or another, it's only a question of when in life's great healthcare roulette, we will be impacted and we will have to pay for treatment that may be life-saving. With technology now so advanced, the chances are better than ever of survival and eventually of productivity, but all of it depends on being able to afford it, to pay for it. And that's why we have healthcare insurance. And we also have healthcare insurance because we know that it is only a matter of time, but it is also a matter of emotional fortitude and stability. People can go to bed and sleep at night because they know they have an insurance that will safeguard their nest eggs as well as their health. And we've made advances in this great country. The Affordable Care Act was a major, historic step in the direction of making health care insurance more affordable. And obviously Medicare and Medicaid. We still have a long ways to go in reducing health care costs. Pharmaceutical drugs are still too costly in this country, and the technological advances, as life-saving as they may be, also create costs that seem to be spiraling upward. But for millions and millions of Americans, healthcare insurance is now affordable. Even if their employer doesn't provide it, even if they're not old enough to qualify for Medicare, even if they're not income-wise qualifying for Medicaid, they can buy insurance in a way that makes it affordable. In fact, this weekend, open enrollment began for 2026, and countless families who have health insurance for 2025 are going to the website for Access Health Connecticut, or it may be for Utah, or Indiana, or countless other states across the country, most states, in fact, where this designated time of year, Americans can sign up, adjust, or cancel their health insurance coverage. As of this Saturday in Connecticut, families saw firsthand, literally, the disastrous impact of Republican policies on healthcare insurance costs. It wasn't pretty. What they saw was prices doubling and tripling, and maybe even more in what they had to pay. And a lot of them said to me, a lot meaning more than 10 or 20, I've decided I can't afford it. Literally, they told me over this past weekend, we're talking Saturday and Sunday, I just can't afford health insurance. And what I said to them is, wait, don't walk away from it yet. We may still succeed in making it affordable if we can extend the health care tax credits beyond the end of the year, and you'll know that it will be affordable, and the insurance companies will adjust those rates so that it's affordable. So don't close the door. Don't make an irrevocable decision. These kinds of premium increases should have been a wake-up call. And yet, unfortunately, this administration continues to callously ignore the needs and interests of the American people. Let's make no mistake, let me be very blunt, Republicans control the United States Senate, they control the House of Representatives, they control the White House, and in fact, the Supreme Court. And this healthcare crisis is happening on their watch. It is on them because they refuse to end needless sufferings. In fact, the president, recklessly and cruelly, is weaponizing hunger by stopping SNAP benefits, despite court orders that the administration must use the emergency contingency fund and other revenues, for example, from tariffs, to fund the SNAP benefits. He said no, he won't, even after saying, and I think I'm quoting almost exactly, that he will be honored to follow the court's directive. Magnifying the pain to maximize political pressure. That is what he is doing. But we are standing firm because Americans need healthcare insurance, not at some distant point in the future. They can't afford to get sick on Donald Trump's timetable. They need to deal with sickness in the real world, now, real people suffering. And Americans are being buried by the cost not only of that health care insurance, but what they tell me is the cost of groceries, energy, health care generally, and student loans, rent, so much more. Instead of working with Democrats, President Trump and Republicans have wasted valuable time blocking every single Democratic effort to lower costs for families. And it includes health care insurance. Unfortunately, we don't need to imagine the costs anymore. We don't need to hypothesize. They're no longer abstract. Trump's version of health care is here and now, and it is impacting everyone. So let me just give you some real-life examples that I've been hearing over the last week or so. A 27-year-old living in Hartford, making $65,000 a year, will have health care premiums increase from $375 a month to $558 a month. Now, you may think, well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot, if you're that 27-year-old living in Hartford, Connecticut, and you're making just $65,000 a year in the capital of our state, and as 27 years old, you believe you're invincible. You have to make that decision, and you kind of figure, you know what? I run 5 miles a day. I stay out until 2 in the morning. I feel good. Sickness can't happen to me until it does. That's a decision, a choice that 27-year-olds are making to not buy that health insurance. And that will increase the cost of health care insurance for everyone, because when that person gets sick, has to go to the emergency room, doesn't have health care insurance, can't cover the debt, it impacts many others as well. That extra $200 a month is $2,400 every year. And it makes a world of difference for that young professional who is contending with the rising cost of living in Hartford or elsewhere, potentially working to pay off student debt, and maybe even considering starting a family. I'll give you another really catastrophic, even preposterous example, but it's real life. A couple in their 60s, living in Fairfield, Connecticut, making $100,000 a year, will go from paying $258, get this, to over $3,000 for the same plan. These are all, by the way, same coverage, same plan, you just pay more. And they're not paying more for additional coverage. No, they're paying over $2,500 more every month because of the Republican health care tax. That's every month. Now, they're at the other end of the spectrum. They have lived a lot of life. They know people get sick. Nobody's invincible. That 27-year-old is in their rear view mirror. They've seen relatives, friends, neighbors, loved ones. What do? Can they afford more than $3,000 a month for the same plan? $2,500 more every month? And chances are they're looking at the end of their earnings period. Now, I could go on about the impacts. I've got plenty of other real-life examples. If you're interested, just give me a call. These cuts will also impact other states, my colleagues in red states, constituents in those red states where people are going to be hit hard. And I'll give you an example from Indiana. There are 350,000 Hoosiers in Indiana enrolled in the ACA marketplace, and over 260,000 families depend on the enhanced premium tax credit to afford their monthly premiums. Without these credits, a family of 4 living in Indianapolis, making $129,000 a year, will go from paying $725 a month for the least expensive option to a staggering $1,347 a month. That's $600 a month more for health care insurance that could be spent on the needs of children, put food on the table, pay for electricity or rent or a mortgage or education. $600 more every month, staggering for a family of 4 making $129,000 a year. They may well make the decision to take the risk. But that risk will come home to roost at some point for some of those families that may decide to go without it. And if they buy it, they will have to make searing, heartrending sacrifices to afford it. In North Carolina, over 975,000 people are enrolled in the ACA marketplace, and 96% of them benefit from the enhanced premium tax credit, which is not unusual for there to be more than 90% of everybody enrolled in the ACA marketplace to depend on these tax credit subsidies. In Connecticut, it's 90%. The reason is quite simply that healthcare insurance is made affordable by the tax credits. But without these credits, 888,000 people will see their out-of-pocket premiums double in North Carolina, typical of the United States. Red states, blue states, you know, the one thing about sickness and illness is it doesn't really discriminate based on your political beliefs or your partisan affiliation or the color of your state, red state or blue state. It hits everyone, and it hits everyone hard. A 60-year-old couple living in Raleigh, making $85,000 a year, currently pays $89 for the least expensive plan. Without these credits, they're going to be paying $1,893. That's per month. $1,893. That's nearly $2,000. Again, same plan, same coverage, nothing better, just more money that is charged to people. Republicans know that these increases are going to crush hardworking Americans. It is ludicrous to expect any American enrolled in one of these plans to have the disposable income to keep their coverage. This is not a partisan issue. I can't say it often enough. This is about ensuring that every American, regardless of their zip code or their income level or their partisan affiliation, has access to health insurance coverage they need to guarantee they can live healthy and productive lives. Medicine now can save lives and put people back to work in a way that would have been unimaginable just 5 or 10 years ago. But it is costly. And American families need the insurance and the assurance that health care will be affordable for every one of them. Republicans are choosing to make Connecticut families, Indiana families, North Carolina families, and families across the country pay more for their health care. It's cruel, it's stupid, it's unnecessary. Open enrollment has begun, but it's not too late to enable people to afford health insurance in the way that we as Americans know they need and deserve to be productive and healthy. So I implore my Republican colleagues to listen to their own constituents who are telling them we can't afford these unconscionable, exorbitant health insurance increases. Give us the means to live with the assurance that we will have health care insurance to take care of our kids and our families. Do the right thing for the American people. Come to the table and reinstate these credits, because we are going to stand strong and stand firm on this side of the aisle, and we are the bulwark against a wave of premium increases that will surely deluge America economically and morally. We will do everything we can to stop it. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield the floor.